Finally, we've made it. We've made it. Oh, joy, oh, frabjous day, Callooh, Calais. We've finally made it to my favorite part of your writing class, your ad copy writing class. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! I'm so excited. We've made it. I feel like the mad professor. My hair ought to be standing on end, like Einstein, where I've been running my fingers through my hair. We've made it to writing press releases, news releases, feature releases, but releases. Please release me, let me go. We're here. Yay! I'm so excited. I know you're excited too. I can just feel the excitement flowing towards me from you, even though you're not there at the moment that I'm here. But it's exciting, isn't it? We're going to actually talk about creating press releases. It is not only my favorite thing, but it is such an important element of being a good advertising, marketing, public relations, promotional person. And I know that you're probably thinking, if I wanted to do that, I would have gone into journalism, or I would have majored in PR, although some of you are probably majoring in PR, or at least your emphasis is in PR. But that kind of writing, what we probably might still call news writing or third-person writing or narrative news style of writing, is going to help you in everything that you do. It will improve your ad copy writing, literally, and it will improve your regular writing, whatever you write in an email or for web. This kind of writing, journalistic writing, can help you in all kinds of areas. And it's one of what I understand as an intern supervisor for the Department of Communication for 10 years or so. It is the number one area that the people in the community, the businesses and corporations and ad firms and PR firms, the one thing that they are most looking for and the one thing that they find most lacking in the skills of graduates from college level programs is their news writing skills, their release writing skills. So I'm going to expend quite a bit of time talking about it. Not in this one video. We'll just address story form in this video today. Sorry, I'm excited. But I'll also do a short video on writing good leads, also on interviewing to get the information that you need to create a good press release or a good story, as people in the news business call it, or the media. And we'll probably cover one or two other areas as well in separate videos, because I don't want to cram it all into one, but keep them separate, even though they all go together into making a package of really good news writing or release writing or whatever you want to call it. This is also an area in which your AP style book is going to be very, very important. Do you remember me lovingly caressing the AP style book very early on in the term? And I still require you to use your AP style book in all of your ad copy, but especially in your release writing. That's very important that you use AP style, because members of the media expect things that come to them through email or however you transmit it to them to be in AP style. And if it's not, they're going to think less of you as a marketing person, and you take up more of their time because they'll have to correct all those AP style errors. That takes more of their time, and they don't like that. We're here to make the media members' lives easier, not harder. So, we're going to start today by talking about story form, the different formats of story writing. And I'm going to start out by talking about the oldest style of story form, news writing form, and that is the inverted pyramid. You know that a pyramid is shaped like this. Not this, but this. And that would be the kind of pyramid that's out in Egypt. The inverted pyramid is upside down. Inverted, get it, upside down. And it looks like this. And you can see that on your screen where I've drawn it. The top of this inverted pyramid is wide because that's where the most important information goes, at the top of the story. What is that most important information at the very beginning of a news story or a press release? What is that called? I bet you know. That's called the lead. L-E-A-D. Or in the olden days, we called that, or we spelled that L-E-D-E. But that's old-fashioned newspaper ease. We don't have to go there. The lead leads the readers into the story. It is the most important element of the story. So you, as a writer, need to sift through all the information that you gather in the interview process and go through your notes. And you may have interviewed a number of different people for a press release. You may interview the creator of the product. Maybe you are promoting a new product, and that's actually what you all will be writing about, is a new product. So you'll talk with the person who actually created the new product. Then you will talk with someone who might use that product or might be wanting to promulgate that product to the audiences, to the customer or the consumer. And then maybe you'll talk with an official source who might be the president of the company that creates that product, or maybe the person who benefits from that product. So you gather all that information, you sift it down, and then the most important thing for you to do is to determine what you think is the most important information that you just need to lead the story with. What's most unusual, different. I'm going to write unusual, different, or new. What's new, different, or changing is often what I will say. Those are the main criteria of what makes a good news or product story. What's new, what's different, what's changing, what makes this product particularly special, differentiating it from other products that might be competitive or similar. So that's what you're going to focus your lead on. And the lead is the first paragraph of the story. Then in the inverted pyramid, and I'm going to recreate that inverted pyramid for you. The lead's at the very top. That's the first or most important info. Then next on the inverted pyramid, you're going to put your second most important info. That may actually be a direct quote from someone supporting how important this new product is, how different it is, what makes it special, but a direct quote from someone, because direct quotes add life to your story. Then next, you're going to, in your inverted pyramid, as you descend in that pyramid and get lower into the story, differing pieces become less important. So you start with your most important, then you go to your second most important info, then your third most important info comes next. Now, who's telling you what is first, second, and third? You are. You are the one who is sifting this information and then transmitting it to the public to help them prioritize, to help them understand what's most important, second most important, third most important, and so on. In the design world, we call that sequencing. But in the news biz, we just call that working our way down the inverted pyramid, so that we start with the most important information and we end with what we consider the least important information, which is probably contact info, or what we might call a boilerplate. The boilerplate just tells about your company. Contact info would probably be right before that. So the good old inverted pyramid has been around for years and years and years in the newspaper business and in print media. TV still uses that as its format for most of its stories. The most important information first leads, right? And then you go with your second most important information in descending order. Now, that doesn't mean that every story that we write is going to follow that format. There are other story forms. There's a story form called the Wall Street Journal form. Guess why it's called that? Because that's what the Wall Street Journal uses. Not all the time, but they made it famous. And that's where they focus on a person or a group of persons who are or have been most affected by this new, different, changing thing, whatever it is. It might be a product if you're doing an advertising news release. It might be a new medical therapy. It might be a new kind of house that is for persons with disabilities. It might be a new, different, changing anything. It might be a new program at ETSU. It might be a changing program that used to be this way and now it's this way. So it could be a lot of different things. But what you would do with the Wall Street Journal form is you would find someone, or maybe a small group of people, one or two people, who have been affected by this new program, or by this new product, or by this new chemotherapy, and feature them in your lead in the first couple paragraphs. Tell a little bit of their story, and then you move into your inverted pyramid form of what is next most important. What's the second most important information that I want to give these people about this product? What's the third most important information? You want to have direct quotes from people. Obviously, in the Wall Street Journal form, you will have direct quotes from those people who are affected, but you still need direct quotes from official sources with the company, the product itself, with the program itself, as well as people who are affected by it. Another story form that we might use, and you may not end up using that this semester, but maybe you'll use it another time, is called a list form. And that's literally, and I've got handouts on this that are on D2L. But a list just means that there are several different things that are of fairly equal importance that I just couldn't decide which one was the most important. So instead, we'll just list them, and when we mention each one, we'll tell a little bit about it, and then we'll go on to the next point, and then tell a little bit about it, and then go on to the next point and tell a little bit about it. Maybe it's a symposium where there are going to be 4 main topics with 4 main speakers, and you don't want to give any one of them more priority than the other. Then you would list those speakers and their topics and a little bit about them in maybe in alphabetical order so as not to offend anyone. Maybe your company has 3 new products coming out at the same time, exactly the same time, and there's a big rollout and a press release on it. So you're going to write your press release on all 3 of them, not giving any priority to any one of them. But your lead is going to be that Contempo Company is introducing 3 new products today at the product festival show. And so you write what we call a summary lead. That tells a little bit about all the key points, what you feel like are the key points, or your key messages is what we might call it in advertising or in public relations. So you write a summary lead, and then you list the new products that are all coming out at the same time, with maybe a quote from some important person, some official source about each one. So those are several different story forms: the Wall Street Journal form, the list form, and then a summary lead that might go with your list form. There are lots of other story forms. There's the hourglass, where you start out with your main lead, that is the most important information, and then go into sort of an inverted pyramid. Put hourglass. So you go into what sounds like and looks like it's going to be inverted pyramid. And then you tell the maybe top 3 key points that you want to include. And then go into a sort of story about how it all got started. And then suddenly you go into a chronology that says, okay, this happened first, this is the, how the product was discovered, and this is how it was developed, and it continued developing until today. So that you have the big story at the beginning, a couple key points, and then you kind of tell the story from the beginning. Which brings me to another story form, which is called the suspense story. And we get a lot of suspense stories on television nowadays, don't we? Everybody who watches CSI, although sometimes you see the end first, don't you? So they're not exactly fully suspense. We know how it ends. But maybe in a suspense story, it just starts out with, it was a usual day for Minnie Mouse when she walked out of her house, and then you tell the story of how her day progressed, and then you know that near the end there's going to be some kind of climactic occurrence. So the story starts small in a pyramid form and then gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you tell the story and build the suspense until you get to the end. So these are just some general story forms. There, as I said, are many, many story forms. For the most part, you will likely use the inverted pyramid form because it works. It organizes the information for the reader. And one of the best things about it is that if you have your least important information at the bottom, that means that the people in the media, whether they're in an online medium where they post stories and they need to make them fit, they can cut from the bottom. Same thing in the newspaper, or even on like a television station's website. If you have it in inverted pyramid style and your least important information is at the bottom, they can just literally trim the story from the bottom without having to cut from the inside, which takes some time as an editor, believe me. I prefer to edit from the inside of a story, not from the bottom. But inverted pyramid style allows editing from the bottom, and that is traditionally why that form has been used in media. So I'm going to stop here. That's enough for this one session on story form. I don't want to boggle the mind too much with too much information in one little session, but isn't that exciting? I'm so excited. I can hardly stand it. We're talking about releases. So hopefully you won't want to be released from this discussion and you'll be as excited about it as I am. But we'll talk about, as I said, other aspects of release writing. We're going to talk specifically about writing good leads. That is so important. We will talk specifically about interviewing, because if you don't have good interviews, you can't write a good story. And I hate to break the news to you, but you can't write much of a story from just what you find on the internet. I hate to tell you that, because I know you think that if it can't be found on the internet, that it's not important or it doesn't really exist, that everything cometh to us from the internet, but that's not true. And there are still good reasons for interviewing people to get live voices for our story. It means so much more to have live voices in our stories and credible sources that people can believe. Because one of the most effective things in advertising, in PR, in persuasive writing, marketing of any kind, is the testimonial. So the words of someone who believes in the product, or who understands the product, or who has found the product and it's made a difference in their life, that can turn around a boring story into a lively story that has life and that has credibility that people can believe. So we'll talk about good interviews and how they can be created, guided by you, not so much created, but guided by you. And then we'll also just talk about some general good writing tips. And again, I'll have handouts for all of that on D2L, but I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. So a little more writing. Something good for you to start focusing on is writing good press releases, because that can help you stand out in the marketplace of people who may be able to write good ads, who maybe can design good ads, who have great slogans and headlines that just kind of pour forth. But not everybody can write a good release. So I'm going to try to help you do that.